You know, when you think about what starts a massive world-ending war, you probably think of things like invasions or a treaty getting torn up. But what if I told you that one of the greatest wars in history really started with something much smaller? It all began with a single toxic emotion that got planted during one prince's visit to a palace. And get this, those are Prince Duryodhana's own words. This isn't just a little bit of envy, right? He is literally being consumed by it, withering away from the inside out. So what on earth could make a prince, a man with so much power, feel so completely broken? Well, the source of all this pain, it was a building, the Maya Sabha. This was the great hall of his cousins, the Pandavas. And look, this wasn't just some fancy palace. It was a work of art, a piece of magical architecture so incredible, it felt like it had been dropped down from the heavens. And for Duryodhana, every single perfect detail felt like a personal attack. Imagine you're Duryodhana walking through this hall. You're surrounded by designs and patterns that look like nothing you've ever seen on Earth. The whole place feels celestial. For a guy who truly believed he was the rightful heir to absolutely everything, seeing his cousins possess this was just unbearable. The sheer wealth of the place was just staggering. We're talking bright, precious gems sparkling from every direction. The walls weren't just walls. They were masterpieces, carved with these beautiful images of gods. You see, this wasn't just about money. This was a statement. It was like divine favor made visible for all to see. And none of it was his. And here's the kicker. On top of all that luxury, the place was just so serene. Think about it. Seats made of ivory and gold, right next to these beautiful, calm lakes full of lotus flowers. And all of this is inside the building. But all this peace and beauty, for Duryodhana, it just made the storm raging inside him even worse. But it wasn't just jealousy over the palace that pushed him over the edge. Oh no. It was the way the hall itself, with all its illusions, seemed to actively conspire against him. It led to a series of, well, let's just say, very public and very painful mistakes that turned his envy into pure rage. So let me walk you through this train wreck. First, he sees what he thinks is a polished floor, but it's actually a crystal clear pond. And splash, he falls right in. Soaking wet, he hears laughter, and it's from his cousin Bhima and, even worse, from Draupadi. Still furious, he then tries to walk through what looks like a doorway and slams headfirst into a solid crystal wall. The final indignity? He gets stuck trying to open a wall he thinks is a door, and a servant has to literally take him by the hand and lead him to the real exit. And just listen to what he told his father about it later. He was absolutely mortified. He says he felt like dying then and there. You have to understand, for a prince, a warrior, this wasn't just a funny accident. This was a total loss of face, a public humiliation he could never, ever forgive. And of course, someone was watching all of this unfold, Duryodhana's uncle, the incredibly cunning Shakuni. Now, where most people would see a nephew in pain, Shakuni saw something else entirely. He saw an opening. He realized that all this raw, powerful emotion wasn't a weakness, it was a weapon he could use. Duryodhana's reaction is exactly what you'd expect. He's fuming, he's humiliated, and he wants war. He just wants to march in and take everything by force. But Shakuni, he's a much more subtle player. He suggests a different path. A battle, yes, but not one fought with swords and arrows. A battle fought with a pair of dice. And Shakuni's plan? It's just a masterclass in manipulation. See, he knows that King Yudhishthira has a soft spot for gambling, but he's not very good at it. Shakuni, on the other hand, believes he's the best dice player in the entire world. The plan is simple. Challenge Yudhishthira to a friendly game and win everything. His wealth, his kingdom, his palace, without a single soldier having to lift a finger. I mean, just listen to the absolute confidence in his voice. He knows Yudhishthira is bound by a code of honor, that he would never refuse a royal invitation to a game. Shakuni isn't just floating an idea here. He's promising his nephew a guaranteed victory. This is the moment the first real seed of war is planted. But a plan this big, this diabolical, needs the king's approval. And that king is Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana's blind father.
Suddenly, this whole thing shifts from being about one man's jealousy to a massive political crisis. The king is now trapped between his son's burning desire and the wise counsel of his brother.
And that wise counsel comes from his brother, Vidura, who sees exactly where this is heading. His warnings couldn't be clearer. He says, gambling always leads to fighting. It'll create a rift between the cousins so deep that it could lead to the complete destruction of their entire family. He is on his knees begging the king not to let this happen. So how does Duryodhana respond to all this wisdom? Pure emotional blackmail. He goes to his father and says that if Vidura stops the game, he'll just kill himself. I mean, what a choice to put on your own father. Do you listen to the voice of reason that could save your kingdom, or do you save the life of the son you love, even if he's leading you to ruin?
And this is the moment everything changes. King Dhritarashtra basically admits he knows his son is wrong. He says, "Your words do not find favor with me." But his blind love for Duryodhana is his fatal weakness. He gives in. He tells his son to do whatever he wants. And with those words, he seals everyone's fate.
So here's where we have to zoom out a little. Is this whole story just about a jealous man, a clever manipulator, and a weak father? Or are they all just actors on a much, much larger stage, playing parts that were written for them long before they were even born? You see, hanging over this whole situation is this dark, chilling prophecy. A great sage named Vyasa had already told King Yudhishthira that in 13 years, he would be the cause of a war so devastating it would wipe out the entire warrior class. This kind of suggests that no matter what anyone did, this war was maybe inevitable. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Are we in control of our own lives, or are we just puppets of destiny? King Dhritarashtra certainly believed in fate. He even said, "Whatever has been ordained by the supreme power will come to pass." It's almost like he was using fate as an excuse for his own weakness. But Vidura, the voice of reason, he pushes back with this incredible piece of wisdom. He says it's not our actions that are inevitable, it's the consequences of our actions. We absolutely have free will. The choice to be jealous, the choice to cheat, the choice to give in to a spoiled son, those choices are ours to make. The outcome is just the universe sending you the bill for those choices. And that's really the big question this whole story leaves us wrestling with. What was the real cause of this epic war? Was it the personal, human flaws of these characters, the envy, the greed, the weakness? Or was it some grand, unavoidable destiny that just used those flaws to achieve its own end? It's a question they struggled with then, and one we still think about today. Hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into what really lit the fuse for this incredible war, do me a favor and share this story with someone else you know would appreciate it. And of course, make sure you're subscribed for more explainers where we break down these epic tales. Thanks so much for watching.